that individual was very naturally gifted in planning, but if you went to that service, it was very stale. Just being honest, wasn't it? Did you go, Jim? It was like everything was planned to the point. It was all perfect, but it didn't appeal to the me's, right? It appealed to him. You've got to do it so that you're appealing to the 10 out of 10, not the 1 out of 10 that you are. Okay? So I would say to you, if you're not a planner, you've got to learn to plan. You don't have to learn to be a planner, but you got to learn to plan. So what I have to do is I have to get away for like 3 days at a time, lock myself in a mobile home by myself, and work on hammering out my sermon. I am not good at doing it in the throw of things. And my team will tell you, I mean, we're 15 years into this thing, and up until 3 years ago, I was still planning a month out. And I thought I was doing good. And I think that probably hindered us a long time back. I mean, I would plan a series and then have the idea for the next series, and that's all I had for my team. Now I am planned a year out. And my team can rally around, and like you're saying, they can build that big Star Wars thing. They can come up with ideas. They have time to present me 3 ideas for each new series. So then when they come with that crazy idea, like we had a Easter a year ago, our team made this, it was 2 years ago, made the suggestion, they put it on screen, Jesus is coming out. That was their tagline. Had the empty tomb. They're like, everybody's taught. I was like, no. Listen, you guys won't have to deal with the fallout. I will. I'm not doing that. Would it have been catchy? Oh yes. Would people have talked about it? Oh yes. But would I have been raked over the coals? And did I want to deal with that much conflict? No. So, sometimes as a pastor, you got to say no, right? Yeah, right. I said no to that one. We came up with another idea I thought that was great. People didn't talk about it as much, but I didn't have to schedule 14 elders meetings the next 3 months either. So, you have to weigh that out. Josh said this, continue to allow for the Holy Spirit to move and adjust. There have been Sundays that I have gotten up and I said, everybody pull out your listening guide. Because I do you do a listening guide? Okay. I still do a listening guide. Everybody's different. I like them because I give myself a false deadline. And this really helps me. Your false, I don't know what your deadline is with her, but you said like Tuesday.
I try to get, yeah.
Okay. My false deadline I used to have was Friday morning. Now it's Thursday morning. So I've got to have my stuff to my team by Thursday morning. Okay? Why do I call that a false deadline? Because I don't have to. I mean, you're the boss. You're the boss. You know, so if you want to be selfish and declare yourself the boss and therefore tell your team to just get over it, you can. But to your point, if it's the exception to the rule, you'll win your team over, and when you make that exception and you call them on Saturday night, you go, man, I know I had this as an idea, but I'm throwing it out the window because today I feel like the Holy Spirit just said, this is the direction you're going.
They'll be excited.
They'll be excited. Yeah, they'll be excited. The people in your church will too. Yeah. They always go, oh, Pastor, you know what I love? I love it when you get up there and you say, the Holy Spirit told you, and you throw out that sermon, you give us something new. It's always so refreshing. But if you do that every week, they would leave. They'd leave. Right?
Yeah.
And I believe the Holy Spirit can inspire 12 months in advance, just like He can the day before, except that there are things that God may do that week in your life that are so overwhelmingly Spirit-filled, amazing, that everybody does need to hear about it. Sometimes you can make that one of your points. Sometimes you can make that an illustration. But sometimes it needs to be the whole service. And the Holy Spirit may just tell you to just cancel everything that you had in mind. And this week, we're just going to come. We had a service 2 months ago, and in the middle of the song, I just literally felt the Holy Spirit say, call people to the altar. I'm like, oh, Lord, this is going to mess the praise team up, you know, little song. But it was not avoidable. I mean, I was like, okay, Lord. I just got up on stage, and I'm like, and Jimmy and I have been working together long enough that he knows if I'm walking up that, you know, we'll kind of give the eye look, you know. And I walked up and just said, hey, I need the microphone for a minute. They turned it on. I said, look, I just feel like the Holy Spirit's saying somebody needs to do business today. We're opening up the altar. Come kneel, pray, get on your face before Jesus. And I mean, it was awesome. I mean, like people just, whatever it was, maybe Grandma Moses was there that Sunday and she was praying and the Holy Spirit fell. You know, don't think it's because of you. Realize there's probably somebody that showed up that's a prayer warrior and the Spirit of God dropped the hammer that day. And she came, whatever it was, the Spirit of God moved and it was powerful. So you got to listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit. But man, like you said, don't blame the Holy Spirit. So if you're not a planner, you still got to plan. If you are a planner, you got to work on freeing it up so the Holy Spirit can move, right? Stanley and Ed Young had a book, Can We Do That? That was where I first heard about planning in advance and the seasons that you talked about. Please, please, please give your team and yourself a down season. Yeah. You talked about summer. For us, it's always been summer where we've just said for 3 months pretty much, from Memorial Day to Labor Day almost, we're going to do a book series and we're not going to try to do the wow factor. Now we may have a video, we may have a testimony, but we're not going to worry about theming it and putting something major up. We're just going to, literally what we normally do is we take an image, we put it on a whiteboard, we throw it on the back wall, and that's the gist of our series. Now, having said that, I just got some data that was very interesting, and we looked into it for us, and we're finding it may be true. And that is the way if you're in a community, which we are, that is it has become a highly moving community, however you call that. A lot of people are moving in and out now, that they're finding that families especially, you'll have more families visit you the latter part of June and July, because they're trying to get here to find out, where do I buy a house? Yeah. What schools do my kids go to? Now, our school starts back at the end of July here. So we're realizing now, June and July, we can't take it as easy as perhaps we did. We may not, we're still not going to blow it up and do the huge thing, but at the same time, November is a little bit, I mean, what's going on in November? You got Thanksgiving, and everybody's like laying in bed because they ate too much turkey. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so that may be a good time to just kind of do a book series, but keep evaluating that. But for us, we looked at it. We found that we had more kids and families visiting now in June and July than we do in a lot of the months that we thought we had a visit. Man, I took some great notes that you gave us. For me, you know what I haven't been doing? I'm going to start doing. You printed that out and gave it to your whole staff, your whole team.
We keep it online. Adjust it when we need to.
Man, that's brilliant. So like ours, we just have the worship planning team do that. And I'm going, why are we not letting our children's ministry and we don't want to bother them with it, kind of our thought. But you know what? Why would we not be more cohesive as a team if we did that? And your survey at Easter and the top 3 topics, man, that was brilliant. I'm going to steal your sermon series, Theology of Satan. I like that. That's good. I'm not going to go any, what time is it?
11:13.
11:13? Okay, I'm not going to go into what I had, because I think, except this one thing, and which really ties into what you said, and that is just calendaring. You talked about calendaring the sermon series, but let me tell you, if you calendar everything, and which is really what this does, you know,
what
you talk.
It led me to do.
Yeah.
When I did my sermons, it did everything else followed it.
Yeah, and like y'all, your big thing is your Harvest Fest or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And so you take the whole month off everything else, right? So your whole church can focus. Don't wear your church out with a busy calendar. I've seen church plants running 100 people with twice as busy a calendar as what we have as a church. Don't wear your people out, okay? One thing we're starting to do is, instead of trying to do 100 things to serve our community, we're trying to pick one thing a month and call it Serving Saturdays, and just point everybody to, hey, this month, if you want to serve, do this. And trying to keep our calendars clear. We're still trying to figure this out. You know, we're partnering across denominational lines here and doing a lot of stuff, and it's starting to overwhelm us. I mean, we've got like 3 women's conferences now a year in our community alone. 2 men's conferences a year, and the more you get up there and say, hey, everybody needs to come to this, the less people go, I'm going to that. The more you throw on the calendar, the less people are listening to what you're saying. So on Sunday mornings, you just need to announce what's church-wide. We used to do 3 to 4 announcements on Sunday morning. We shrunk that back to 1, and in rare times 2. Anything more than that, people are checking out anyway. Do y'all still do a program?
No,
A handout program? You don't do a program?
Connection card.
Connection card?
Yeah, card. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
For us, we're still reaching old people. And so, you know, most of my young people really don't pay much attention to the program. I get that. But we actually do a program, and one of my main reasons for doing a program is to hold the connection card and the envelope and everything, and to hold a sermon notes. But the other reason is so that I am without excuse. Everybody's without excuse. Mm-hmm. How many times do people say to me, well, I didn't know about that, I didn't know about that, I didn't know. I just go, it's in the bulletin, it's in the program, it's in the program, it's in the program. Well, I didn't read it. Well, too bad. It's in the program. And so for us, because there's so many different genres now, and people get their information different places. You may love Facebook, but guess what? Everybody in your church, believe it or not, is not on Facebook. You may love Instagram. Everybody in your face is not on Instagram. You may love the program. It's the only thing I've found that for people that come regular, everybody at least has a chance and can do something with it. And for my folks that don't read it, that's cool. We put it online too. But we've just found that if we get up there, we make one announcement. Hey, everybody, this week we're gearing up for Easter. We're going to have this. This is our Easter schedule. Everything else you want to know is in the program. Take it with you, read over it, see what applies to you and your family. Don't try to do everything. You'll burn out. You find the things that works for y'all and jump in. So if you're going digital, are y'all all digital, Jim?
Program?
Yeah, you don't do a program, do you? You do program? Am I the only one that does program still?
We do.
Y'all two do? Okay. So, and I always say to you too, if you're doing a lot of that yourself, keep it as simple as you can, you know, but make it excellent. Because you don't want somebody coming in and find a program that we had when we first started that looked like Steve Tiebout did the typing the night before with 8 misspellings, and it was horrible. Horrible. I don't know why anybody would ever come. And then the last thing I'll close with is the more professional you are in calendaring and organization, the more people who deal with excellence and lead with excellence in the workforce will be interested in your church. Okay, so let me explain this principle, because it can sound really secular as I say this. Okay, but excellence attracts excellence. And excellence means that you actually do have a plan for your worship service on Sundays. I think in my California church, I pushed away anybody that had any desire for excellence, because when they came and they sat through my service, it wasn't excellent. There were long pauses between the band getting off the stage and me going, are you playing the video? Don't we have a video? And we didn't even have the order of worship typed out or written out by hand or anything. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay? And I look at it now and I realize there's reasons no one except 20-somethings and 30, maybe 30-somethings wanted to come to my church. Because now I'm 49, and once you pass 40, believe it or not, organization is important to you.
Yeah.
Your life is structured, am I right, guys? If you're over 40? If you go, Rob, you work in the professional world, you're tech. I mean, is it acceptable in your business for you to show up for a presentation for 15 other coworkers and not have an agenda and kind of ramble and say, hey guys, here's some ideas, what do you think?
No, and if you do, I mean, that sort of becomes your legacy, and so.
Yeah, wait, say that
start to
again.
close
Say that
doors.
again, brother.
Yeah, it becomes your legacy.
Becomes your
People
legacy.
know you, and they won't say anything to you.
Yeah.
And church-wise, they'll just stop coming.
That's right.
That's right.
Just quit coming.
That's exactly what, and they'll tell you a different reason.
Yeah, they won't tell you.
They won't tell you what it is. That what they'll say to you is, well, you know, my kids got involved in this other church. But the truth is, you wasted their time. You wasted their time. You invited them to an outreach meeting for something, and all you did, you showed up 5 minutes late. You didn't have a plan. You didn't have an agenda. You didn't know when the next meeting was. You just had an idea. Hey, let's reach the city for Jesus. I'm thinking we do a servant leadership day. What do y'all think? And they're going, okay. What's the plan? I don't know. But isn't it a cool idea? Okay, well, what's our next step? I'm thinking we should pray, and we should get together, and we should buy some bottled water. Listen, if they're in the professional world and they're called to go to a meeting, there's an agenda, there's a plan, there's direction, and there's a vision. And they're invited to get on board.
That's how I did it the first year of our church. And one of the doctors in our church, a real close guy, love him to death. He came to me one day and he was like, man, when are you going to quit wasting our time? I mean, he basically just said that to me and it hurt. And I'm like, what do you mean, man? And it's true, man.
Yeah.
I never had an agenda. I had a notepad. I thought, boy, I'm organized. I got a notepad. I'll probably take notes. 3 questions I wrote down 30 minutes before I came, you know.
Yep.
I'm going to ask them. And boy, it hurt, but it was like, you know.
And different.
The guy's a doctor.
Yeah.
He works, 80 hours a week, and then I'm telling him to come to a 2-hour meeting where we don't do nothing but spitball, stuff that I'm not listening to anyway. You know what I mean? If I'm that unorganized, And so when he said waste time, I'm like, man. Yeah. So,
And early on, I mean, I've got, on my elder team, I've got professionals. I got people that, I don't know what a doctor makes an hour these days. It's probably $300-400 an hour. Think about it. You just wasted $800 of their income to sit around and spitball.
or be with their family.
Or be with their family when they're so busy. Yeah.
That's
So this calendaring thing really, it affects everything. You need to bring excellence, and part of that is having a plan, having a calendar, and every meeting that you have, you should plan your next meeting time then. As much as you can do consistent. And don't get me wrong, people still won't remember it. This meeting has been the 3rd Thursday of every month since we started. And it never fails every month to have somebody say, I didn't know the meeting was then. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It hasn't changed in 7 years. And sometimes I'm that guy. I'm going, what is this week? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? It's like this month was the 15th. And Josh texted me on Monday. He's like, hey, are we still doing that this month? I was like, oh, snap, it is this week. So, but I can't emphasize that enough. Your people they're working 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week.
Or they're retired and giving you their time.
Yes.
Don't waste it.
And when they show up, you need to have a plan. You need to have an agenda. And I tell you what, even if it's a simple agenda, and this is a simple trick that may save your life. If you hand them a piece of paper that's typed, it says agenda, opening, conversation, brainstorming, planning time, decision-making time, next meeting, December 15th. If you just hand them that, they at least know that you thought about this meeting more than 15 minutes before you showed up. And if they are in the professional world, that is what they expect. Why do we want to give them any less? Why do we want to dumb it down, if you would? And I had the same awakening too. I had an elder on my team, and we were meeting every Wednesday. And we were discussing silly stuff like, well, should we change the connection card? And And do you think it looks good? And he just finally said, look, boys, I don't have time to spend 3 hours every week talking about connection cards. You can figure that out on yourself. You know, if you want me to lead, you've got to bring stuff to the table that I need to make a decision on, not something your secretary should have decided. And he always cracks me up, David. He always gets down to the nitty gritty and calls it what it is. And if you want people like that on your team, you've got to be professional and have a calendar and a plan. And I wasn't going to go into all this stuff. Okay, I'm going to end it. I'm going to end this. Next month, then we'll probably talk more about professionalism and meetings and how you cast vision long term, what it looks like to use social media, and in your family, and planning in your family, planning your schedule in your family, and some of the stuff that Josh talks about. I believe that you need to plan your family time before you even plan your church calendar. If you do that, your spouse will love you. If you give them the leftovers, strap it in. It's going to be a long, hard ride. So, all right. Any questions?